I can't stand gatekeepers. Oh, man, they get on my nerves. And there's a good reason for that, man. I know you've experienced it. It ain't just me. I've had a lot of jobs in my time. I worked on a lot of different types of, construction sites and everything. And it's not just in the trades. There are gatekeepers everywhere. So we can't eliminate gatekeeping because it's just how it is. But we got to learn how to navigate through it. And hopefully maybe we can get more people that stop worrying about gatekeeping and start spreading the information out here. All right, so let's get into it, man. Now, sometimes you can confuse a gatekeeper with a mentor or a coach. And what I mean by that is that, like a mentor or a coach, they might not give you all the information because you got to do something with your brain. You know what I'm saying? And we got a whole epidemic out here of people not being able to figure things out or missing the point or all that, right? So in order for us to get past all those things, I need you to use your brain. So I might not give you all the information, like every single step-by-step walk through the whole thing, but I'm gonna give you enough to get to where you need to go, but you're gonna have to figure certain things out. So somebody doing that does not necessarily make them a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper is somebody who's trying to lock you out, somebody who's trying to not only withhold the information, they got a purpose that they don't wanna let you in, right? They might have a little circle, a little group or something like that. They don't want you in it. They might be making a little bit of money or something. They don't want you to make it. They might think you smarter than them. But because of that, they don't want to see you shine. It's just how it goes. Gatekeepers do not want to see you win. They want you to lose. And for the life of me, I can't understand why. The only way I could even understand why is if somebody was a gatekeeper towards them. Sometimes you have people that'll do that to you, and then in return, you end up doing it to everybody else. I know dudes that knew so much information, had so much information at what they were good at, but they took it to the grave. They'd rather take it to the grave than pass it on to somebody else. And their excuse is always the same. Oh man, these people don't want to work. These new guys, these young guys, they don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. Okay, that might be true to a certain extent. But in reality, are you going to tell me that there ain't nobody out here who could use the information that you have? Nobody? I don't believe it. I'm always curious about that. I mean, that there's nobody on earth that's worthy of you giving the information to? Are you helping getting the leg up? You see it all the time in society. It just irritates me so much that people don't want to pass the torch to the next group because I don't know, they're either caught up in their feelings or they're so worried about other people getting ahead off of their back. And I'm just like, I thought that was the whole point. I thought the whole point and a lot of this was, I go through the door, I make it through, I learn what I can, then I give it to the next man, I pass it. I lateral, I give him that, I'm about to get tackled. So instead of getting tackled and taking all the information with me, I lateral real quick. Then they take it and they get a little further and then you keep lateraling and next thing you know, you got the Music City Miracle or the perfect example, Cal versus Stanford, the play. The band is on the field. They totally gave up on them. They thought they won the game. And because y'all kept moving, you kept pitching it back to the next man, you end up winning, right? All y'all end up winning. But that's not what the gatekeepers think. No. They see that as a total loss. Why? I don't know. I've had the situation, man. It's not just, like I said, it's bad in construction. I've seen guys that would say they were installing a door, an exterior door, and they had a helper. I've seen guys that would install the door, send the helper to the truck during like a critical part where they're putting shims in certain places and they hurry up and do whatever. And when the helper's coming back, then they're already nailing everything in. And it's like, guys like, well, I didn't get to see, not knowing that he was doing that on purpose. He was doing that on purpose. I've had a lot of situations of gatekeeping, y'all, and I know that y'all experience the same thing. I mean, it takes me back to, I don't know. I know a lot of y'all remember good old Sears. That was like my first real job out of high school. I was doing asset protection for Sears. And that's a whole nother thing, man, I could go into, but I'm not gonna stick to the script. But I had a situation where, dude, I was doing everything, right? Maybe I'd been a year, I'd been there. I was running, I was making the schedule. I was helping with all the training. I was doing everything. I was opening the store. I had the keys to the store. It's opening. And when it came time, we didn't have a supervisor in my section. It came time for them to get a supervisor, and they just told me, oh man, well, you're too young. I was 18. And I was like, but y'all got me doing the whole job. And now all of a sudden I'm too young to do the job that I'm already doing. Not only that, they brought the new supervisor in, and I had to train this dude. It's my first experience with true gatekeeping. It's like, what's the issue here? What issue do you have with me? So in cases like that, they're not just withholding information, they're withholding opportunity. Now, I mean, looking back, now I'm, being 46 and looking back to when I was 18, am I glad I didn't get the further opportunity? Who knows? Because I wouldn't be where I am now, but who knows where else I would have been if I would have got the supervisor position and maybe kept moving up. Who has any idea, right? But it was just the fact that the opportunity then, oh man, it hurt. It was a major issue because I didn't understand the concept of gatekeeping at the time. I was real young, so I just didn't get like, well, why would I have to be doing all this, have all this, have the experience, be doing the job, and then they get somebody else like that's never even done the job before to do the job instead of me. They just, for unknown reasons, they just didn't want me to do it. So, like I said, gatekeeping is not always just knowledge. Sometimes it's opportunities. There's all different ways. I was working at a plant. Now, granted, I hadn't been at this plant long, right? I was a machine operator. I used to run the CNC, shears, the brakes, all this stuff, but I wasn't supposed to learn how to do that stuff that fast, right? So I had learned how to run all the machines, and I had only been there like 2 months. And I came in to run the CNC for all my CNC operators out there. I ran the CNC. I ran a CNC with a laser on it, like the plasma cutter, combination machine. I done programmed those machines and everything. Decent job, right? I kind of enjoyed the job a little bit. But man, my old supervisor was gatekeeping, man. Like, this dude just didn't like me for no reason. Oh no, it was a reason. If you've ever worked at a plant, these shifts sometimes can be coveted. And I started at the plant on day shift, and that was a problem. Because even the HR guy told me when he hired me, he's like, look, he was trying not to hire me, but he's like, look, man, it's gonna be a problem. And he was right, 'cause my own supervisor, just like I go to him with an issue and he would like brush it off and like be dissing me for no reason and all this stuff. And then finally he came out, he was like, man, look, man, I had to work graveyard shift for 8 years before I got on day shift. I'm like, bruh, I ain't had nothing to do with it. I wasn't here 8 years ago. If it was me, I'd have gave you day shift, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have any control over that, but it didn't matter. They were still going to gatekeep. As long as I was there, they were going to stand in my way. So luckily, I was smart enough to get the intelligence on my own. I didn't wait for them. I was reading the manuals and doing this, doing that, going to different spots, learning the other machines. They didn't want me to learn, to the point where the way I overcame the gatekeeping there was that I got so good at running all 3 machines that I was the only one in the section that could do it. Even the supervisor couldn't do it. So his supervisor noticed that I could do all 3, and he started having me coming on weekends by myself. Because the assemblies section, sometimes they would need people to make parts on the weekends. And you might get to a weekend, they were trying to build the machine and they got this part and it's like, oh man, we either lost it or we bent it wrong or something happened to it. I could come in there, get the little sheet. I can go grab the sheet of metal off the shelves and take it all the way through the system and come with it and bring them apart. And then that helped me to break through the gates. Otherwise, man, if my supervisor would have had any say, he would have put me on 3rd shift or something, done something else just out of spite. And you gotta watch that. You gotta watch them people around you, man. Whether it's in the trades or whatever you're doing, you're gonna have to watch these gatekeepers. And there's a reason why I'm the way that I am. Like, I'm so generous with the information. If you ever notice with me, people like, you know, I get to working and sometimes I can't get to all the comments, right? But when I can, I put comments in and I talk to people in the comments. Like, it's not just like little sup, you know what I mean, and all that. It's full responses, and I'm really engaged in the comments, because if I can give you information that I can get you in the video and you got a question, dude, I'm all about it. And there's a reason why I am the way I am. I had times where I ran into people that were not gatekeepers. I had more gatekeepers in my life than I ever had people that were willing to help. It's just how it is. But one of the first people I ran into is another dude named Daryl, man. You know what I mean? My kinfolk. Daryl Mullen. This guy, man, when I started doing installation, you know, I had never done construction before a day in my life. Didn't know anything about it. And when I came in, you know, if y'all ever, you talk about cutthroat, I don't know if anybody out here has ever done piecework. Well, when you do piecework with a group and you the weak link, man, people could cut you. And, you know, I don't mean physically, I mean financially. So you go to work, say, we're doing bags of insulation, and say this guy done put up 40 bags of insulation a day and you done put up 10. Why would he split the money with you? There'd be no reason. You just count your own bags, right? You count your bags, he counts his bags. He's gonna make $150 that day, you're gonna make 30. And that's just how it goes, right? Or he can just say, all right, I'm gonna cut you though. So we're gonna get all the bags together, but we're doing 60-40 my way. And then, you know what I mean? And it's just how it is. Like, you know how you worked and you know what you contributed. Man, my man Daryl, he never did that. I started working with him the second day I did installation, and I was trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, I was willing to do whatever I could, and I was soaking up like a sponge, and if he told me to do something, I would just do it. But I was my man though, you know, and he didn't hold anything back. No matter what he saw me doing, he just was free with his information every day. And we did everything from commercial. He just made me good at what I did. He didn't have to. He could have just said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take 60% every day until you get as good as me. What would be my argument? Like, no, please, you know what I mean? Like, I need to make the same amount as you. Nah, I wouldn't even have a leg to stand on, but he didn't do that. He didn't do that, man. He just, whatever information he had was the same information that I had. And I got this, I started doing this when I was 20. That's when I started insulating. And he was like the first person on a job that was really the guy to like just give me the green light and just show me everything without me having to like watch him when he wasn't paying attention, or like, you know what I mean? Like really like I had to like drag information out of him, and I wouldn't even refer to him as a mentor. He was more like a coach. You know, the coach is just teaching you everything in hopes that you win. You know, because they want to see you win. And the coach feel like they're gonna win too, but all y'all gonna win together. That's how I felt, you know, that's how I felt with him. Now sometimes we were bad influences on each other because he wasn't a little dude and I wasn't a little dude. So we made some certain decisions, but that was my guy, man. We had a good time working together. And now Daryl recently passed away, man, before I got a chance to talk to him and just tell him how much he changed my frame of mind. Because with him being so generous with all his information, not only made me excel at the job that I was doing, that when he left, they just automatically put me in that position, right? They didn't have to do that. He didn't have to teach me enough to just be a successor at that position. I was there for another 3 years running the joint, right? But then even after that, the things that I went into, I was just more free with my information. And then I met a person or two that was free with theirs. And it's what really led me to do this, right? To get on YouTube, because I'm that guy, you know, just free with the information. Except now there's a platform where I can help way more people with it, right? It's like gatekeep for what? So, although I didn't get to tell him while he was here, which, man, I really wish I could. I wish I could go back. There's a couple people. I told y'all before about my old calculus teacher, man, Mrs. Krause. Y'all keep that in mind, man. You know, if you got somebody that was a mentor, that was a coach to you, that was just there to help build you up, all that bootstrapping nonsense that people talk about, well, I built myself up from the ground. Ain't nobody ever built themselves up by themselves. Everybody got help from somewhere. I don't care if it's one person, somebody helped you get to where you were or change your mentality and your way of thinking. Thank that person, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta show them some love, man. Thank that person, because just like with me, I probably wouldn't be here on YouTube, man. I might be gatekeeping with the rest of y'all. Gatekeeping all the information, just like, nope, I don't want no competition. So, shout out to Daryl Mullen. That was my man, you know what I'm saying? Like, and much love to you and yours, homie. So, all y'all, thanks for watching. This is Daryl, also known as The Finisher. Stay safe, be blessed, and remember, if the trades don't work, nothing else does.